It might just be a small crew today, which fine by me. Well, we can start, and the next people come in, they'll catch up. So nice to have you guys. Hoping the rest of the people get the. Oh, you should see the aftermath when people don't get their Juice Club emails. Customer service hates that. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing great today. Happy to have you here. And if you haven't been here before, my name is Lisa. I'm the nutritionist here at Raw Generation, and I host these calls once a month for our Juice Club members. So if you're in the Juice Club, that means you must be an AutoShip, a Subscribe and Save member. So we thank you for that. And it's just one of the perks that we try to offer. And if you ever have feedback on these calls, if there's something that you want me to cover, you can always email me directly, and I'm happy to consider doing that. I love getting the feedback. So the way these calls work is I typically go over a certain topic or idea that I have, and that's usually the first part of the call. And the whole rest of the call is always an open forum kind of for your questions. And those questions can be about our products. It can be about general nutrition, anything that I have specialty in that I can speak to. I'm happy to answer questions about all kinds of things with general wellness and nutrition. And sometimes the conversations go all kinds of directions. So wherever they go, it's always a good conversation. So I see somebody drinking their juice over there, Stephanie. Nice. That's nice. Bring the right juice to the party. So that being said, today's topic I thought would be kind of fun is to I'm going to host a summer reset with whoever wants to be part of it. So I'm sure some people that watch this later on in the day or tomorrow will also hopefully join. But you guys are obviously hearing it live. It's not like a formal where there's going to be like emails and the whole thing. I just thought it would be fun and kind of motivating maybe to offer you guys some tips to how to do a 30-day reset before the summer. So we're kind of like a month out before the real beach season, at least around here, hits. I don't know where you guys live, but the real summer kind of season. And so you can do a lot for your health and for your body in a month. You'd be shocked at how different you could look and feel in a month's time. And so that, people sometimes think that, the small steps aren't going to make enough of a difference, but that really isn't true, because sometimes the small steps can make a big difference. Even I've spoken to this before, but like if you're like a perimenopausal or menopausal woman, sometimes you make one shift in your diet, like one tiny shift, and that could be the difference between losing 5 pounds and losing nothing for months. So sometimes little changes make a big difference. So you can do this one of two ways. The 30 days is just my kind of general month kind of an idea. If you were going to use Raw Generation products to do it, I would highly recommend starting with a cleanse and then going to a system, like maybe like the Stay Skinny method. That to me is the most effective way to lose some substantial weight, just to feel really good and to change your eating habits in 30 days. I did a test group with this exact same system, doing the cleanse first. You could do 3, 5, 7, or 10 days. I think the most effective are 5 or 7 personally. I don't think 3 is great, but you're not really going to see huge numbers and huge shift with 3 days most of the time. So if you're looking for some substantial results, I would say start with 5 or 7. And then right from there, what I would personally recommend doing is, if you're doing it with our products, and I'll tell you how to do it without our products also. This is not just like a sale or anything. I'm just explaining it for ease, or, either way. But if you decide to do it with our products, I would set it up that when you order the Skinny Cleanse, you also order the Stay Skinny method at the same time, as long as you have freezer space for it. Because that way you can start the day right after, without a day in between, right into the cleanse, right into the method. And that will enable you to keep all the results you get from your cleanse and then keep going from there, rather than like some of it creeping back on, having to lose it again, if it's a weight loss thing for you. We tested this several times and with customers for over a year now. And that is the best system for people to keep off their cleanse weight. And then the average that we get reported to us all the time is an extra 2 or 3 pounds a week of weight loss if you follow the system for most people. Of course, sometimes, if you're in a hormonal cycle time of your life, if you're in a perimenopausal or menopausal time in your life, that could be different, but it is general. And we did have women, and then of course too, but we did have women in that test group that were going through all those different phases, and they still also had substantial weight loss by the end of the 4-week test period that we did with them. So that's what I'm suggesting to you if you're looking for something to kind of shake up your system. So that's the Skinny Cleanse and the Stay Skinny method. They go hand in hand. That being said, if you'd rather do it on your own and just kind of, or do some part of it on your own. Before I was an employee here at Raw Generation, I had my own nutrition consultation practice for almost 20 years. And I would have my clients cleanse all the time. And I was not a juice cleanse, because particularly find that juicing is easy to do at home or cost effective, or easy to maintain or sustain, which is why regeneration was created in the first place for that exact reason. But so what I would recommend to my clients would be to make smoothies, green smoothies, or any kind of fruit smoothies, because blending is much quicker, easier to clean, and more affordable. So I did always recommend getting a high-speed blender like a Vitamix, which obviously is an investment. You could do it in a lesser scale blender for sure. I just have tried all of them, and in all my years, I've never found something to compare to the Vitamix. So if that's something you've ever thought about doing, I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but I probably have sold 200 or 300 of them at this point in my life with all the clients that have bought them because I love them so much and always would tell them to use them. It's a game-changing piece of equipment, and it's not just for smoothies. You can do a million things in it. And I'm not a gadget person by any means, but that thing comes out of my cabinet 2 or 3 times every day. So anyway, I would highly recommend doing smoothies, a smoothie cleanse. And so the cleanse would be basically large fruit and green smoothies. You will not be having any fat during this cleanse time if you're doing this yourself, just like a regeneration cleanse typically, unless you're doing the protein cleanse, there's no fat in our cleanses either. So that would mean you're just putting fruits, frozen fruits or fresh fruits, greens, and water. You can use honey if you want, or dates to sweeten them if you want it extra sweet. But you would not be using any kind of nut milk, no avocado, no protein powders, none of that stuff. Just fruit, greens, and water. Because the idea is cleansing, water rich, fiber rich, and cleansing your body of toxins. And I would recommend making like 64 ounces of that at least a day. So I would fill my whole blender up. This is what I do almost every day myself. Fill my whole blender up, and which makes about 2 large mason jars full of smoothie. And I would make them as green as you can tolerate them. So they still taste good, but green. And I'll give you one of my favorite recipes in a minute. And if you drink that should take you through breakfast and lunch pretty much. It's a lot of calories, and that's exactly what you want, is good calories from the right places, because you'll still lose weight, but you'll have enough energy to go through your day. And in addition to that, you can have all the fresh fruits or vegetables that you want, raw fruits and raw vegetables. You can also have, just like on a cleanse with regeneration, if you've done it before, you can have steamed or dry roasted or dry baked potatoes, sweet potatoes, and vegetables. And those are the main things you'd be having during the cleansing phase. Now, when you cleanse at home, you can do it for 3, 5, 7, or 10 days, just like here. I've had clients cleanse for over 2 weeks when they're doing it at home or longer. It's a little more sustainable than just juice, because there's a little more bulk to it with food. And you can pretty much maintain your regular lifestyle. I mean, unless you do really intense workouts, you might need to either extra supplement even more foods. You might want to just like tone them down a little bit while you're cleansing, just because you might not have quite the same amount of energy as usual, though sometimes people have more energy. It just depends on how your body is or what kind of toxic state or non-state it's in when you start. So that is the cleanse phase without our stuff, or of course, you know, the cleanses that we have. I'm sure if you're here, you've tried or have seen our cleanses. To supplement what you would do if you're not ordering our Stay Skinny method, if you want to do it yourself at home, basically what you'd be doing is what I've spoken to many times here in these calls. So if you've been here, you'll recognize this: eating light to heavy every day. And that is, to me, a lifestyle that you can follow the rest of it. I've done it for 20 years, and I swear by it so whether it's with our stuff or whether it's outside of our stuff, I think it's the best way to eat. It's actually why I created the Stay Skinny method. I wanted to find a way to teach people on a mass scale how to do the way I eat every day. And the Stay Skinny method kind of let me do that with like bottles and a very simple program. So it's literally what I've taught my clients for years, just put into like a product form that's easy for people to use without having to make your own stuff. So if you're doing it yourself, you'll be eating light to heavy, meaning light foods are vegetables, fruits, water-rich things, very low or fat-free things. So that would also include like grains like oatmeal. It would include potatoes, quinoa, that kind of stuff, or all the light foods. Even beans can be considered a light food if you want to have like a soup, like a bean-based soup for lunch or something. That's considered a light food. There's not a lot of fat there. What you would want to do is put all your fat at the end of the day. So you can certainly have healthy fats. I'm 100% a believer in how much our bodies need them, in addition to protein as well. But from a digestion standpoint and a weight loss standpoint, it's better to have them towards the end of the day and not in the middle of the day. This is why. If you haven't been here before, you probably haven't heard this, but fruit and fat do not mix. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you have poor digestion, if you get bloated, if you have don't go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times a day, if you're not regular like you should be, just an FYI, a healthy colon eliminates on a 24-hour cycle. So that means if you have 3 meals a day, you should be eliminating 3 times a day. And I've never come across someone yet as a new client who's automatically doing that. I certainly wasn't myself either before I started eating healthier. So I'm telling you, this whole system, like it touches every part of your body. It touches your elimination cycles, your hormone cycles, your weight loss. It's just all of it fits together. And I found this to work when done properly for all the issues I just mentioned. So eating light during the day does not mean light calories. It just means light foods. You can eat all the calories you want. You don't have to count the calories or portion control at all, which is to me such like a freedom. As someone who always struggled with my weight when I was younger and always counted calories and fat grams, when I learned how to eat like this, that I didn't have to weigh anything or count anything, it was like, psh, it was just freeing to me that I could literally eat all day long and not stop if I didn't want to and still lose weight and still get healthier and feel good. It was just a blessing. So that's what this program does. Whether you do it, like I said, with our stuff or my stuff, you're eating light foods, the fruits, the vegetables, the low fat foods all day until dinner time, as much as you want without any kind of restriction. And at dinner time, you save your healthy fats, and healthy fats are avocado, cold pressed olive oil. You could do raw nuts and seeds. I don't recommend snacking on them ever, but you can certainly put them on a salad or blend them into a dressing. This is for weight loss, not for health per se. This is just a weight loss tips. And your main proteins, like if you're gonna have animal proteins, I would put them at dinner time mostly. Eggs are better to have later in the day, like a late lunch or dinner, than have in the morning. And dairy, if you decide to continue to eat dairy, that should also be later in the day. I'm not a big proponent of most dairy. However, if you get a really high quality dairy, like a grass fed, like a raw milk cheese, organic, whole milk, that kind of stuff, clean dairy is not by far, this is actually very beneficial in lots of ways. It's not the worst thing, but most dairy is pretty subpar. And a lot of people can't tolerate dairy well, especially if you have hormonal fluctuations. Lots of times your body won't tolerate dairy too well, especially not if it's a raw and pasteurized kind of dairy. Now I know like that's like very taboo in some places to talk about, but the reality of it is like raw milk cheese, grass-fed cheese is 1,000 times easier for your body to digest than regular cheddar cheese. I can't tolerate the other at all, but I can easily tolerate raw milk cheese. I eat it all the time. So, and I've heard that from many, many people long before I ever was starting to eat it myself. So and that goes the same with dairy, all types of dairy. So any questions about that so far? That was kind of a lie I just hit you with, and I know I talk really fast. Maybe you're used to me or not by now, but any questions about that so far? Okay. So if you commit yourselves to doing that for 30 days, and I'm also not even saying not to have any little cheating in there, because I mean, life's going to happen. The whole idea with any system or sustainable program is to make it actually doable for your life. Because if you overly restrict, you will never stick to something. You might for like 3 or 4 months because you have results and you might be like, oh, this is great. But the reality of it is life's going to still happen. The holidays are going to come, our vacation's going to come, or something's going to come. And then you're going to be totally like, what do I do? And instead of knowing how to make simple adjustments where you're mostly on, but not 100% on your plan, and you're going to fall completely off the wagon and either have no motivation to start again or have to start from scratch. And those are 2 awful feelings to have. You've probably done this before. I know I certainly did before. So instead of making it like all or nothing or 100% like strict with yourself, it's better to have a little give and think like 80-20 or 90-10 and do well most of the time and leave a little give for like pizza night with your kids or something like that. Have a salad with it and have 1 piece of pizza instead of 3 pieces of pizza. Like there's ways to have moderation and to still have a life, but mostly to eat healthy and be cleaner and lose the weight that you want to lose. And that is what makes it sustainable for the rest of your life. So you'll never have problems, hopefully, with your weight or your health again. So that's the most important thing. I know I'm definitely a product of someone who likes like all or nothing, and I tend to be overly strict with myself. And so I say this to myself as much as you guys, but I've also done it for many years now where I feel like I kind of have a better handle on things. And I've seen how people, handle information that I give them. And across the board, it is better to be a little less strict with yourself if you want it to be a lifelong habit, because it just won't, strict stuff doesn't last long term. Okay, so that's my little 30-day plan overview. And I wanted to talk about some meal prep ideas because I think people hear meal prep and they're like, oh, that's time I'm not going to have. But you can do meal prep in a really short, like concise way that takes like an hour or 2 a week at the most. And you'll have a lot easier time making your meals through the week if you're the kind of person that has like a tight schedule. Like I know I have a really tight schedule, and I think most people do. So if you're rushing around, the inclination is to grab whatever quick and fast, and most times that quick and fast food is not the healthy food, or it's like healthy junk food. So like a vegan crackers or something. Well, sure, that's like a healthier form of like Cheez-Its, but it's really not as good as having like some celery and some hummus or something, which you could easily have if it's prepped for you. And you can, if you take an hour or 2, maybe on a Sunday night or something where it's quiet. I don't know when you would choose your time to do it. Maybe early in the morning before your kids get up, like on a Monday morning. I don't know when, but it literally just takes an hour or 2 to put a tray of baked potatoes in the oven. So you have those for the week. And I recommend doing a whole bunch of white potatoes and sweet potatoes. Just put them on a tray, just pierce them with a fork and bake them at, wash and scrub them first at like 400 for like 40 minutes. You'll have baked potatoes and put them in a glass container and you'll have them for the whole week. I just warm them up. That is a game changer for having something filling and quick. While those are baking, so put those in the oven first. While those are baking, I would highly recommend washing and cutting at least some of your produce for the week so it's easy to grab. So wash your grapes and strain them. Wash and cut your celery, your carrots, your peppers, whatever, and fully dry it. I would leave it on the counter to dry while other things are going on, because if you put it in the containers while it's wet, it'll spoil more easily. So let it mostly dry. Put it in containers, and you have like grab and go carrots, celery, tomatoes, whatever, ready to go to either snack on with some dip or to put into a salad. It's already ready for you. I would buy some already bagged or boxed lettuces. I always buy organic, so maybe like baby organic spinach in a box, or maybe something like that. And then I also buy romaine hearts, and I cut those up, and I kind of mix the two. And to me, that's my favorite combination for a quick salad. But even if you just did the box stuff, at least you can just throw it in. It doesn't have to be washed; it's already washed. And then everything else you've already washed, just throw it together so you can have a really quick salad for lunch, or add some chicken to it, and you have a nice healthy dinner. After you've prepped your vegetables, I recommend making, and this is actually, realistically, you'd probably put the potatoes in first and then do this, then make a grain or something first and then do the vegetables. So I recommend making like maybe one grain a week. So maybe making a pot of rice, just pour it in with the water and let it simmer while the stuff is cooking, or quinoa or oats, have something just ready to grab. So as a side dish, you can always throw it together with something. And maybe choosing one dip or one dressing. If you've done one of our programs before, if you've done the skinny method, the protein method, or the signature reset, I don't know how many of you have, but if you have, you all have access to all my recipes. And they're all super easy ingredients and fast to make. So like I love my no oil hummus, for example. I have a bunch of like very oil, like low fat dressings you could use anytime in the day. And I would say make one dressing and one dip, and like just have them in a jar in the fridge, and then you can have that to quickly throw together for vegetables or whatever. And then if you want to go one step further, now all that, it sounds like maybe a lot, that really should not take more than like an hour or an hour and a half, unless you're like a really, really slow vegetable chopper. And the last thing you might want to do is pick one of my soup recipes. So they're also very simple, and they make a nice big pot, like a lentil soup or a split pea soup or vegetable soup. And I would say make it and portion it out, and keep 3 or 4 out for that week and freeze the rest. And then you have that for another week or dinner when you're more busy or you don't prep. So that's like a super, and actually, if you've done the signature reset, you have a guide, a printable guide that I have the whole like little checklist of how you can meal prep. So if you didn't realize that was there, it's there. Any questions about that? Hi, Stacey. How are you? Nice to see you again. Oh, you're muted, so I can't hear you.
There
you go.
Sorry. I just a question. I'm totally in love with that cashew dressing, the raw cashews, and but I know that has olive oil. So if you had a salad or something for lunch, not to be crazy, but if we're doing a 30-day thing, would you recommend something waiting for dinner to have that salad?
Yeah, cashew dressing, and the cashews themselves are a source of fat, and so is the oil. So if you're trying to keep the fat out until, I would say that's more of like a better dinner dressing, or like a potato topping or whatever, or even like a late, like before dinner, if you want to have some veggies like with dip or something as a snack while you're making dinner, that's a good time. It's like once your fat's introduced in the day, you want to keep the fruit out. So it's like later. So yeah, if you look wherever you got that, what program did you do? Did you do the skinny method? I can't remember. I probably knew at some point, but
I don't remember where. Yeah.
So do you still have access to the recipes?
Yeah.
Okay. So in there's like 4 or 5, I think. They call them free foods. They're recipes that don't have either very little fat or like very little oil, and you can make those for lunch dressings, and you can use those without having to think about it at lunchtime.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. See, Leslie has a question here. I love baby carrots with hummus. Recently, I was told the pre-cut baby carrots from the supermarket have a lot of chemicals. What do you recommend? Yeah, I do try to stay away from those. I've read all kinds of mixed reviews about them. I just honestly buy the big carrots and peel them myself and cut them into pieces. I like how they taste better, and they actually last a lot longer. They don't get that weird like white film on them after a while. I don't know if you ever noticed that with those baby carrots. They either get like white filmy or slimy to me. So I try not to eat those too much. I mean, once in a blue moon, if I'm in like a rush, I'm on the road somewhere, I grab a bag of them and eat them. But yeah, I just do the whole carrots. And I saw a hand up. Bonnie, hello, welcome. Did you want to unmute and ask your question? Bonnie, did you have a question? Or maybe you raised your hand by accident. Okay, if you have one, let me know. um, okay, any other questions before I move on to the next?
I do have a question. I'm sorry. I'm
Sure.
new to this and
No
this.
problem. How are you?
Okay. You're saying fat and fruit don't mix. What about with the smoothies? I've heard that milk and dairy and fruit don't mix either. And so what is it that you put in the smoothies, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, I should probably be a little more specific. I was being very general. Most fruits do not mix well with fats. There are a few that do, and I can tell you those specific ones if you want. But the reality of it is when you mix most fruits with any kind of fat, dairy, or like nut milk, what happens is they digest at different rates in your body. So fruit digests very quickly. It's water and fiber. So it's in and out of your gut in about 35 minutes and moving into your digestive tract, the rest of your tract. Nuts or protein or fat could last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours in your gut. Most people that struggle with their weight are slow metabolizers, and that's probably sitting in your gut for 4 to 6 hours. So what happens is one's trying to move out of your gut, one's trying to stay in, and this push and pull reaction happens, which causes fermentation and gas to happen in your gut, which is why you get bloated or have hard time losing weight, have hard time going to the bathroom, whatever the case might be. So mixing fruit and fat, although not unhealthy, like from a health standpoint, like an apple with peanut butter is perfectly healthy for you as far as ingredients go. Not the best choice if you're trying to lose weight. Does that make sense to you?
Okay.
And so for smoothies, what I recommend doing, I was just going to explain this. I live by the fact that frozen bananas and smoothies make them taste like ice cream. I love it. So I fully ripen bananas on my counter, which means there is no green left on the stem. They're not just yellow. They're yellow with brown spots, not like disgusting mushy banana bread bananas. Just once they start to brown speckle even a little bit, that means they've chemically converted from a starch to a sugar. So prior to that, they're like a piece of white bread in your body that you're constipating. That's what everyone says bananas cause you constipation. They absolutely do not when they're fully ripe and they're chemically a sugar. They're really good for your gut. They help everything move as it should. So I have 4 to 6 bananas every single day in my smoothie, but they're frozen. So I ripen them on the counter, I peel them, I put them into 3 or 4 pieces in like gallon Ziploc bags, and I stack it in my freezer. And they're my base for every smoothie that I make. And I make ice cream with them. I do all kinds of stuff with them. So it sounds excessive, but trust me when I tell you it's actually really delicious and really good for you. It's a great place to get healthy carbs and healthy calories from and to make it satiating. And you don't even miss the dairy at all. So I would do that with a few dates and the greens and water and blend.
Okay, so you talk a little fast.
Yeah.
So you
I'm the worst.
you put the yellow bananas with the brown spots, and what do you do with them?
So you let them fully ripen on the counter. So they're fully yellow with brown speckles. Until that point, you don't do anything with them. Once they're fully ripe, you peel them and then cut them into 3 or 4 pieces and put them in gallon Ziploc storage bags, like freezer bags is what I do. So you can fit a whole bunch in there. And then I tend to stack them in my freezer, like kind of almost flattish, because they're easier to break apart. Because if they're like all in a bundle in your freezer, it's hard to break them apart. So if you stack them kind of flat, they come apart very easily to put in your blender.
And how much do you put in a blender?
Well, it depends on the blender that you have. So like I was saying before, I have a Vitamix blender, so I can easily fit 4 or 6 in there, and then I put other stuff as well. If you have like a small kind of Hamilton Beach style blender or something, you probably can maybe get away with like 2 in there, and you'll also need more liquid to get it to blend. So the textures of your smoothies will be different. If you have a blender like a Ninja, they're pretty decent. You could probably get 3 or 4 in there.
Okay. And so you said you need something else to make it smoother. What were you saying? In addition to the bananas, you need to put something.
I would just whatever other flavors you want. So whatever frozen fruit, if you want to do cherries or mangoes or something, or you could do an orange, and then you add fresh greens. So spinach or celery or parsley or kale, whatever greens you have on hand. And the greens with the fruit is the best combination.
Okay. Okay.
I think I skimmed over that a little bit because a lot of people have heard me say this before on these calls, but so sorry if I confused you.
Okay. No, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I saw Stephanie, can you explain again why around food combining no fruits with fats? I think I just did that, but let me know if you're still unclear. With details and examples. Yeah, so like examples would be like the apple and peanut butter, like nut trail mix is a common thing people do wrongly. Like, they'll put a smoothie with like avocado in it or protein powder in it. It's very common, but those things are kind of like a jumble of hard for your gut to digest combinations. So the light to heavy is really what makes it much more seamless. The fruits that do combine fine with fat, that actually help digest fat, this is a little bit more in the weeds, but our citrus fruits, pineapple and berries, they can actually be mixed with fat without any kind of problem. So if you're the kind of person that likes to have like fruit in your salad at night with like a little bit of nuts or something, those are the ones I would go with. So citrus, pineapple, or berries. And actually dates, believe it or not, almost always mix okay with fats as well. That's why we use them to sweeten our smoothies at Raw Generation, because they're some people can't tolerate it, but if I can tolerate it, most people can, and I can tolerate it without a gut issue. So, and what did I see? Oh, my hummus recipe. Sure, Leslie. That's in a bunch of our programs. I give that recipe, but I can certainly give it to you here. It's a no oil hummus recipe. So you use 2 cans of chickpeas. You reserve 1 can of the liquid from the beans. You drain the other one. So you put 1 can with the liquid in the blender and 1 can without the liquid in the blender. Again, you would need a high-speed blender for this or a food processor. If you don't have a high-speed blender like a Vitamix or something, you would use a food processor with the S-blade, the metal S-blade. That you can also do it in there. So the 2 cans of beans. And then you would add 1 to 2 tablespoons of tahini. That is sesame seed paste. That's the only fat source in there. You would add the juice of 1 or 2 lemons, depending how much you like. Lemon-wise, I usually use 1 or 1.5 lemons. A generous amount of clean salt. So the salt I recommend is Redmond's real salt or Himalayan pink salt. Don't be afraid to salt it up. Tastes better that way. A nice teaspoon or half a teaspoon probably is enough each of garlic and onion powder. Also of cumin. And that's pretty much it. You're going to blend that sucker up and it's going to be pretty creamy and yummy. And it lasts for 4 or 5 days in the fridge if you store airtight. Okay. Any other meal prep questions?
I have a couple. So the hummus recipe, I've had it. It's really good. Is that is that okay to have at lunch, because there's not oil, and I know there's a little bit of tahini, but with vegetables, with raw vegetables?
I'm sorry, I'm missing that of what you're saying. It's a little quiet. One more time.
Is it okay to have that at lunch, with raw vegetables?
Yes. That's why I put that as a free food, because the amount of fat in it's very minimal. So you should be fine to have that at lunchtime. And it also makes a good dressing. Believe it or not, if you just put that on a salad by itself with like lettuce and vegetables and mix it in, it's a yummy dressing.
I've been doing this, and every time I feel like maybe it's not the right thing, but instead of like making my rice in a rice cooker or on the stove, I get Trader Joe's rice that you can just heat up in the microwave. Is that not so great, or is that okay?
Is there anything else in it besides rice? I'm not familiar with what the product is there. Do you know?
Did you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I did. I was asking, do you know if there's any ingredients listed aside from rice in there? I don't know exactly what that product has in it.
I checked the ingredients just to make sure.
It's just rice. Yeah, then it's fine. I mean, it's maybe not the most ideal way to cook it, but if it helps you stay on track, then absolutely. Are you hearing me okay? I'm not sure.
Sorry. I've got my earpods in. I don't think they're working very good, but yes, I heard it all, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Should I move on to the last couple sections, or do we have anything else we want to ask? No? Okay. How to gain control of your cravings. So if you've been here before, you might have heard me say this also, but I'll repeat. The best way to eliminate cravings is, number 1, to have enough greens, dark greens every day, because the chlorophyll in greens chemically eliminates cravings in time. And also, secondly to that, is to have enough fruit. So let me explain how this works. When you have a sweet craving, if you're a cookie craver or ice cream craver, that means your body is lacking in fruit. And if you are craving salty things, that means your body is lacking in chlorophyll. So your body doesn't like, you're used to craving something salty and grabbing a Dorito or something, not grabbing spinach. And if you have a sweet craving, you're probably not grabbing an apple, you're grabbing like an Oreo. So, but the reality of what your body's telling you is that you need more fruit and more greens. And when you get enough of those, the cravings majorly diminish. And you will see this happen in like less than a week's time sometimes with the cravings. That's why I have a little craving crusher shot that I developed. That's actually for the intent of getting people like a dose of chlorophyll first thing in the day to help their cravings be at bay. But the more greens, the better. So that's why almost all my programs also begin with a green juice to start the day. And that is solely for the reason of detox and for cravings elimination. So if you're making things at home, that green smoothie that I was just telling you about to make will have the same exact effect for you. I did it for years, like I said, with my clients before I had access to a juice company, and they would just make green smoothies every day. And it's so funny because I'll meet people now, all these years later, and they'll, even if they didn't stick with everything I said, I still make my smoothies. I never stop making my smoothies, because that's like the one thing, if you do that every day for yourself, it sets you up in a really good spot. So greens along with enough fruit. So the other part of that is most people drastically undereat fruit. They're afraid from past programs telling them that fruit can cause you to get fat, food can give you diabetes, only have half a banana, only have green apples, it's low in the glycemic index, like all these kinds of crazy things that people and notions they have about fruit. And all I can say is that I find them all to be completely mythical and to have never worked for me. And the complete opposite is what worked for me and has worked for hundreds of my clients and my customers now here since then. So I'm all about eating all the fruit. I pretty much eat nothing but fruit till dinner every day. I very rarely have anything but fruit before dinner time. I mean, once in a while, but like, I just don't even want anything else but fruit till dinner. So lunch for me might not be like an orange. It'll be like 8 or 10 oranges. I eat a lot of them, so because I have to have the same amount of calories you guys have to function, but I just choose to get mine from fruits and vegetables. That's why I have 4 or 6 bananas in my smoothie, because I think nothing of the calories that come from fruit and vegetables. It's not like the calories that come from, junk food. So the more fruit you have, the better off you'll be with your weight. And I also say this to my diabetic clients. So all of my diabetic clients, type 1, type 1.5, and type 2, are all on high fruit diets, but I am much more specific with their food combining than I'm being with you guys right now. There's a couple more rules around it. But they all have lower A1Cs. I mean, my very, very dear friend was unknowingly a diabetic, undiagnosed for a while, ended up having a fasting blood sugar in the almost 400 range, which I don't know if you're familiar with blood sugar, but if you're over like 200, you are like loopy. People think something's wrong with you. So he was way in a danger zone. And within 2 weeks of eating on my regimen, he was down by half his blood sugars, and he was off his insulin within 3 months completely and has never gone back. So I 1000% believe in your body's ability to heal and to lose weight when you feed it the right way. And in my experience and my research, the best way is to eat a lot of fresh produce during the day. So there's that. And lastly, I had on there low cortisol workout tips. Now that's a different area than we usually talk about here, but I want to talk about it because I've been doing it for many years myself now, and it's really helped me. I've always been a major advocate of exercising, and about 2 years ago, I hurt my back, not relating to exercise. And I've never since then been able to do like the workouts with the same intensity that I could do years prior. I really can't do HIIT trainings and stuff too easily. I can a little bit, but not like I used to. So I started doing some Pilates and some low cortisol workouts. And let me tell you, the results that I've seen were better than anything I ever had before. And it's so much less stressful on my body and my mind. And now I almost crave that like 20 or 30 minutes in the morning. It's just like, it sets my body up for just like being more relaxed and less stressed in the day. The ones I use, if you have any interest, I've talked about her before. Her name is Caroline Diesler. I have no affiliation with her whatsoever, but I love her stuff. I joined her workout, her Reset platform. It's not that expensive per month. And you also get access to her nutrition stuff. And her nutrition is very much in line with what I teach people, which is why I originally found her. I like her recipes. They're very similar. Some of the ones I even have in the programs are things I've adapted from hers that I've used over the years. But her workouts, while they look like they're going to be easy and like nothing, and she's like a little peanut. She's like a model, almost too skinny, but like I still like her workouts. They are extremely effective and not hard on your body. They're like very low stress. And raised cortisol levels can be really detrimental to your hormones, especially as a female, and to your weight loss. And a lot of these really intense workouts are the opposite of what our bodies need as females to work out. And I have a whole concept for a program I'm working on for the future about hormones and for here with products and with suggestions, because it's, if you're like in your 40s, I'm in my 40s now, so that's more in my mind than it probably was 10 years ago. Hormones are shifting, and you have to shift with them, or you're going to end up being where you don't want to be. So I think it's really important. And low cortisol to me is very important. That's why I recommend her workouts. So her name again is Caroline Diesler. She's on like Instagram. That's where I found her, but she also has a website and YouTube and stuff. So you can find her all different kinds of ways if you want to try her workouts. And what I like about them is that they're segmented by like duration and body like parts. So if you want to do 8 minutes of arms today with like 10 minutes of abs today or whatever, you can, if you only have 20 minutes, you can pick just a 20-minute one. Like they're not all an hour or anything like that. They're all, so I can always fit one in. There's pretty much never a day when I can't fit at least one in. So it's nice if you're busy. So that's everything that I had for you guys for the whole reset plan. And I had a product I wanted to talk to you about for feedback, but first I'd like to get any more of your questions you have. So, hi, Bonnie.
Hi, how do you spell her name, please?
I'll put it right in the box for you. Hold on one second. Caroline. There you go. She's German, but she speaks English all the time in her videos and stuff, but she's from Germany. I believe her website is Caroline's Choice, where she has her different things that she offers if you want to go to her website, not her YouTube.
Stacy again.
Hello.
Hi. I just started for something different. This one
Nice. Mm-hmm.
today. I've only had like a couple of the drinks, and so far so good. But would that count towards the like the 3-day detox? I know you said 5.
You could do that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking to kind of like break some really bad habits.
Oh, yeah. That,
And 30 days sounds really good.
oh, good. I mean, and you guys feel free during this 30 days. If you have questions or you want to email me for support, you absolutely can, because it's not that big of a group of you that I'm telling this. But it's Lisa Testa. I'll put it in the box at rawgeneration.com. And you can feel free to email me. And I will help you. Generation.
Oh, but I was wondering, me again.
Mhm.
I mean, this seems a little counterintuitive to what the skinny cleanses, and in terms of like, I was just reading the ingredients like fats, and I know you add milk the second part of the, or almond milk or something the second part of the day.
Right. You don't necessarily have to do that. I just, I will tell you that when we were testing these, so I'll give you a little background on these. We wanted to do a powdered product to give people something they didn't have to worry about thawing, transport with. The detox cleanse that just came out last year. And I'll tell you, I had to fight literally tooth and nail with the co-packer that made these packs for us, because they wanted to put maltodextrin or flow agents in them. And I was just not having that, because I'm like, that's the opposite of what I teach people. So no, we're finding a way to do this without it. So that's why you'll notice they don't stir in too well with a spoon. Like they do, they stir much better with a shaker bottle and a ball. And actually, I don't know when you got yours, but we just got them in house. We're actually shipping them now with the shaker bottles now. So I don't know if you got that or not with it, but that's how they stir in the best. But when we were testing them, they did taste good with water. Like I tasted literally every competitor juice cleanse powder out there, and I just thought they were horrifying tasting. They all had like that sicky sweet, like monk fruit after stevia aftertaste, and they just were gross. So these with water to me tasted much better. I wouldn't say they taste like our juices, but they taste much better. And with the oat milk that we got the Malk brand oat milk, because that's what we used. It was like, we were all just drinking it for fun. It was so good. It was like, this is delicious, especially the strawberry and the banana peanut butter. Everybody loved them. So that's why we recommended that, also because it gives you more protein and more calories. So granted, what I'm saying to you was kind of doing this light to heavy thing, but if you're doing it as a strict cleanse, you can follow the instructions for that cleanse, because we had great weight loss results with this when we tested it, similar to the skinny cleanse results. So I think you'll probably be fine. And then from that point on, when you're going to the stay skinny portion, or the plan, I would say just keep the fat at the end. So did I miss someone else's comment? I think I did.
I have a question. You said something about oat milk. Is there a particular brand?
Yes, the brand I like is Malk, M-A-L-K. Oat milk. It's just oats and water. All their nut milks and plant-based milks are clean. The other two brands that are very good are called Elmhurst and Three Trees. I'll put them here in the chat. They all, most nut milks are full of junk. I don't recommend them. But these 3 brands are always clean. Hello, Andrew. Sorry, will this webinar be available in the future? Yes. So these webinars, Andrew, are They're emailed to you within a few days after this call, and then most of them get posted to our blogs page as well. So you'll be able to get them. Carson, so I know the skinny method says weekly, but I just wanted to see if this is something you do every week for a couple weeks following the cleanse. Okay, so yeah, the skinny method, you can use it however you want. When I made it, I intended it in my mind to be a weekly program. That's why there's 7 days worth of product in there, and to do for as many weeks as you want. I mean, it's really sustainable for the rest of your life or as long as you want to do it. It's really meant to teach you the healthy habits. So until you form them and stick to them, it's kind of to help you get through that process and just to learn how to do it and to cleanse your palate of junk food. You don't have to do it every week. Some people do it bi-weekly. Some people buy just once a month. Some people just do a cleanse with 1 week of a skinny method, like once every couple months as like a detox. People do it all different kinds of ways, is what I found. But my intent initially was to do it with a cleanse first, then 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of the skinny method, and then do another cleanse and kind of keep your body shaken up and just going through. That was my original plan with it. Let me know if that answers your question or not. You got it. Anybody else? Okay. My question to pose to you guys. So this is an idea that I've had for a while. We're thinking about, we probably are going to go forward with it in some way. Just not sure exactly how. So I got the idea from Caroline Diesler because I like her programs. I'd like to actually make it more like me and our programs, but I like the concept that she does. And she does these 10-day reset programs or digital resets. So like she provides recipes, shopping lists, like the whole thing to do these 10-day things. It's not like a cleanse because there's recipes, but you're actually making more of the recipes. I was thinking it could work well because it could be in conjunction with some of our juices so people don't have to make everything. Like, that was my thought, because she always has like people making celery juice every day and the stuff. To me, that's overwhelming. So I thought it could be a good way to kind of combine some things that we have with some things on your own. But what she has, which I really liked, is this digital platform. It's called Reset, like I was telling you guys. And on this platform, you find all the recipes and her reset plans. You have all of her workouts and everything's in like one place. And I was thinking, wow, wouldn't that be awesome to like have an app or a platform for our customers where like my recipes, some of my workouts, and some of like our plans are all in one place. And you just probably like a monthly kind of, probably $10 a month or whatever it would be, like digitally, where you could access everything all the time like that. And there'd be always new content being put in every few weeks to be new workouts or new recipes or new things. Like, what do you guys think about that? I'm curious on your feedback in general. Good or bad? I'm just curious. I'm seeing some comments coming over here. I love this and I would love an app. Yeah, we do have an app right now, but I just don't feel like it's very I mean, it's fine user-friendly wise. I mean, you can buy products off it, but it doesn't, to me, add any value to someone's life. And I think our app would be so much better served if you could like click in and get a shopping list for how to cleanse this week, like for cleanse snacks, like buy these things for your cleanse and make it easier for people in just one place. Like, or the PDFs that I have for the signature reset. Like, I have all these guides that you guys will probably never have even seen, most of you. Like, I have a meal prep guide. I have a how to eat out in a restaurant guide. I have like special, like considerations for postpartum and menopausal women, like all kinds of things that could be like, I think, accessible through an app that people just have on your phone all the time when you're out doing your life. Make it where I can send the grocery list to HEB. What's HEB? Clue me in. I'm probably not in the know. What HEB is. Oh, it's Texas grocery store. Oh, interesting. So you mean, this is me being like ignorant. So you can there's apps where you have a grocery list and you can send it right to the store to like pre-shop for you, kind of. Is that what you mean? Like
Yes, okay. I just figured I'd get off mute to make it easier. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, so I use like a meal prep kind of app right now,
Okay.
and it allows you can send it to like Amazon, Kroger, like anywhere. However, they don't have HEB on there, and if you look it up ever, HEB, it's like the largest chain grocery store in Texas.
Wow.
I think that's primarily what people use here.
Okay.
So it would be nice because I think that's a very big user thing for Texas people anyways.
I didn't even know that functionality existed, but this is me like not living this life. Like I'm like,
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. HEB, if you ever go to one here in Texas, I mean, they're huge. I think they said one in Dallas has like a rooftop restaurant now. Like they're ginormous. A lot of them, they sell, even some have like clothes in them and like boutiques and whatnot. They have grown very big.
Wow. Okay, yeah, news to me here in New Jersey, that's for sure. But okay. So do you like the idea of having an app that will send a list to a store? And then what do? You go pick up the
Yes.
stuff, like your bags are waiting for you kind of when you
Yeah,
go?
so they call it curbside down here. So Walmart and HEBs offer them here.
Okay.
And it sends your order. They'll let you know if they need to substitute anything, which hardly happens. And then you can just go and pick it up and be done.
Very interesting.
It's so convenient, especially when you work a lot and don't have time to go into the grocery store itself.
Yeah, I would not have thought of that. That's great. Okay, thank you for that tidbit. We'll take that certainly into consideration if we can do something like that. All right. Well, you guys have me for like another 10 minutes. If there's anything else you want to talk about, we can certainly end early, but usually there's things brewing.
Stacy again. The idea of an app frightens me. And it's probably an AGE thing. Because like there's so many apps. Like I don't know how you would position yourself. I mean, that's your job, but like I don't know how you'd, for us it would be wonderful. I mean, I'm with you and I would use it, but like I feel overwhelmed by all the apps. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I do agree. I was kind of more so thinking, I was actually thinking of more of like a desktop platform that would also link to an app because I don't even tend to use it on my phone. I just happen to, it's on my phone, but it's nice if I'm away somewhere and I can get a workout when I'm in a hotel or something, which I use it for that. But I like the desktop because I can print a recipe right from it or something from my computer. To me, it's like just very easy to do. It's just more a way of giving people information digitally, which we're not currently doing. You know, so right now you have to buy one of our programs to access any of my guides. There's no way to just buy the digital guides by themselves. Like some people might just have interest in buying certain guides by themselves or something like that because it'd just be helpful to you, or like digital consults or whatever the case might be. We don't do anything like that now, and so I was just thinking in my own head that might be a neat space to try to be in, you know, and that's where the idea came from, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have to do it to
Yeah,
be relevant, I guess.
never stops trying to be relevant, that's for sure. And the trends are just never stopping with this kind of field. So,
And the low cortisol thing is very interesting to me, but I keep seeing things about it and some things say it's not true and other things. And I tend to like push myself really hard in workouts and my body hurts and I've got to find another way. So I'm interested in it.
I did that for you. So I didn't say this, but I should have. That would be my premise for the platform. I wanted to make like a low cortisol living kind of a platform and make the whole concept around that. So that was the idea I had for that. But yeah, I was just like, I felt like if I didn't sweat and like really be sore after a workout that I didn't get my workout in, I wouldn't feel like I did enough. And it was really hard for me mentally to get used to what I'm doing now. But now that I'm doing it and been doing it so long and I've had consistent results for so long, it's like, why did I work so hard for so long? This works great. You know, that with some walking and stuff, it really does work really well. So, and I feel strong to me. You would never think of Pilates as needing so much strength, but it does, especially if you use like ankle weights to help you or something. I mean, my core strength now is like, I put it up against anyone's, but I definitely, in the beginning, I could never even keep up with her. I couldn't do her full workouts in the beginning. And I thought of myself as a pretty athletic person. I could not do it. So, you know, something to be said for it. Anything else, you guys? Okay. So glad you all joined today. And I hope some of you do the reset along with me. I mean, I kind of live this lifestyle every day. So for me, it's not particularly a reset, but I am going to do a little bit of a cleanse for days kind of my own and just keep eating how I always eat. Thanks, Stephanie, for joining. So, you know, I just thought it would be fun. If you wanted some group support to do it together, you feel free to, you know, email me and feel good for the summer. So I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any questions here in the box. I don't think I did. Just so you guys know, you won't be able to access, I don't believe, these comments in the replay. So if there's something I typed in here that you want to remember, go write it down or screenshot it now before I end the call. So I learned that the hard way one time that I couldn't get back in. I had asked for you guys to give me email addresses once to be part of something, and I couldn't access them after the call. I was like, oh, okay, well, lesson learned. So, all right, everyone. Well, I'm going to end this then if you're done with questions, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and a great month. And like I said, if you have anything you want me to talk about for next month, send an email my way. Happy to consider it. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.